This week on the podcast, we are joined by Rev Sven, who tells us all about a surreal fish simulator called How Fish is Made. It is January, which means we get to talk about CES, what was announced, what was shown, and what was the weirdest things that we found. And, as always, stick around until the end of the show for Deals of the Week. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro. Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite. Green, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I started a new job and I am loving it. It's been great. It's just I'm trying to figure out my schedule. So but it's good. I'm having a good time.
Hell yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm better now that I can actually be on the show and actually fill myself with energy, because I had a long day of staring at a screen and not really talking to too many people. We're also joined by the spooky and the ookly, the Mendacii. Mendacii, how are you doing today?
Not too shabby. School started back yesterday, so just engrossed in homework, and the new job starts in 9 days. So just enjoying my freedom while I have it.
Heck yeah. We're also joined by the prodigal son, Rev Sven, the powerful and the beautiful. Rev, for those who don't know who you are somehow, if they've been watching the show but don't know who you are, what do you do, and where can people find you?
Hi, I'm Rev. I actually used to be one of the co-hosts on this show once upon a blue moon, and I'm primarily an indie-focused variety content creator that just will play the most random, obscure stuff. Like we were talking before the podcast about how I look at things and I'm like, oh, will this make me queasy or mentally unstable for the night? Yes, I'm playing it. And you can honestly find me just about anywhere. If you search either just Rev Sven or the Rev Sven, depending on what platform you're on. I don't remember which ones are which at this point, but I'm pretty much everywhere. If you wanna come chat, come chat.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks for watching and listening to the show, everybody. Be sure to stick around until the end to get some deals that you can take advantage of this week. Of course, if you miss any part of the show, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. And if you want to join us live, you can do so on Twitch at Next to Nothing Network every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Mostly Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. With that out of the way, Rev, what in the hell is How is Fish Made?
Okay, here we go. All right, so I recently dipped my toes into the warm waters of a game called How Fish is Made. Yes, it sounds so grammatically incorrect, and it should be, because there was nothing right about this game, other than the sickening feeling I felt, because basically what it is, small free-to-play indie game that you play as a fish, and you drop down in this hole and you begin talking to people, right? By people, I mean other fish. And while you're talking to them, you end up, oh, hey, my train's coming. While you're talking to them, you learn that there's only two ways to go, up and down. So it doesn't tell you what that means. It just says, which are you going to choose, up or down? And then as you're going through, you're talking to these other fish, and they're telling you which one they think is better and which one's wrong and why it's wrong. At one point, there's a fish stuck inside a used condom. I know it was used because of all the stuff that was in the condom and around it. And then there was a beautiful musical number with one of those parasites that eat fish tongues and then replace said fish tongues. And at the end, this is going to sound surprising, but at the end of I decided to go the up route. I have not done the down route yet. We're going to see what happens, but
you did not go
in
down.
The up route. I did not go down. I don't go down.
Regular
Y'all
DJ
didn't hear that? my wife in the other room just yelled, "Can confirm." But anyway, so I decided to take the up route by the end of the game, and minor spoiler alert, it gets really philosophical, actually. There's a small philosophical part at the end of the game about essentially comparing your tragedies and traumas to others, and how when you're going through stuff, you have it in your mind that nobody else could have it as bad as you, no matter how bad they actually have it. And it actually gets a little deep for not going down. But yeah, it was the oddest experience I've had in a long time, and I've played some weird stuff in my day. But all in all, it's a free to play game. Give it a shot. You'll be disappointed.
You will or you won't be?
Oh, you will. Yeah, you'll be disappointed in yourself. You'll feel. Can't exactly tell you what you're gonna feel, but you'll feel something.
That's a wonderful description of a game. You'll feel.
Yeah, you'll feel a combination of things. You'll feel some sadness, some laughter, confusion, disgust, shame. It's all there, all in
I
one
haven't-
little 20-minute bundle.
I haven't felt in such a long time.
Well, touch yourself. You'll feel something.
Ew.
I also haven't heard a game be described so closely to my bedroom antics.
Wait, you have a fish and a used condom in your bed?
I
Room?
mean, sometimes there's that, the flogger, and then just like the overall whelming feeling. You know, it's not over or under; it's just whelming.
It's the shame too, right? The shame is.
Yeah, yeah. Just me and my gimp mask in the corner, crying, lukewarm. No one's happy. There's a fish and a condom on the bed. It didn't work how it was supposed to.
Yeah. Well, so I would like to put this out there though. I did ask around to some people. So we have like a hatchery not far from here, like an actual fish hatchery. And I forwarded the YouTube video I made of it to my buddy that works at the hatchery and asked him if this is how fish is made. And he said that doesn't even come close because it's much more disgusting. And there's a lot more used condoms, which really made me feel strange. But I guess there's some accuracy to the game. Disclaimer, none of that's true, but there's the condom. Oh, sorry. It's on the screen.
I don't know. There's so much.
Yes.
There's just. I'm looking at the
There's a lot.
time. I'm looking at the time here, right? We're about 7 minutes into the show, and you have said so many words.
And yet I've said nothing, it feels.
Exactly.
That's this game. You experience everything and nothing.
So you're
Everything everywhere all at once.
So like you're talking about the philosophy of the game. Does the philosophy of the game feel deep, or is it about as shallow as a Midwest pond?
So the whole lead up to the finale is so confusing. Like I can't make heads or tails of it. It was just an odd experience. But then right there at the end, boom, there's this whole like philosophical thing, and it makes you think for a second, and then you remember, I just played that. Like how and then you end up more confused. You make random mouth sounds like I just did. Just,
So okay, I just want to point out here what it says on Steam, because I just wanted to look it up in Steam. Are sardines trustworthy? Are you? Do you want to be? That is the text for this game. It's a very it's so bizarre. Anyways, if you're interested in wanting to play this game, here are the minimum specifications for it, and it doesn't require much. So it's free and it can be played on a potato, it looks like. Requires a 64-bit processor and operating system, Windows 7 and newer, Intel or AMD processor, running 2.5 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM, and NVIDIA GeForce 470 GTX or an AMD Radeon 6870 HD series card. You need DirectX version 10 and 300 megabits of available space on your hard drive. So yeah, you don't need much to run this game.
they should make it a mobile game. Everybody should be able to have access to this nonsense anywhere and everywhere.
Just fucking musical. This is so bizarre. Okay, before we ruin anything else for folks, you can find it on Rev's channel, link in the description of this video, or you can go play it yourself. But I have so many questions, but I honestly don't know if you have answers or if there are answers.
I'm telling you right now, if you have questions, you'll leave that game with more questions than you get answers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm going to go back and go down on it. I mean, pick the down route and try it again and see if maybe there's something more to it.
Green, any thoughts or questions on how fish is made?
No,
S-
no, I don't. No, I'm good. Thanks. appreciate
Mendacii,
it.
how about you?
It's cool to see games that look like this, that are willing to go and make games that look like this. Developers should be not afraid to be this interesting, out of bounds, or I guess, in a way, creative. Even if like the gameplay and story falls flat, it's an interesting take. Kind of reminds me of like when I dove into Scorn. I was like, whoa, this is crazy to look at. The story is bleh, and like the gameplay is kind of, but overall it's different, and that's interesting. So, if you're looking for, I guess, like an experience of some sort, whether it's a good one that you'll remember fondly or a bad one, I guess, maybe that's who we can recommend this game to. Someone that's just looking to play something that's vastly different. That's all I got, man. I don't know.
It's a great game if you have a love for used condoms and sushi.
Sounds like a good first date. So starting us out on a very weird note, thank you, Rev. Do we want to just transition to the Consumer Electronics Show 2023?
Yes.
Of course, there's so much like good stuff and so much weird shit and so much like to talk about. Gotta get into it.
I love that, like, right after Christmas, right after all the holiday spending, right? We get slapped with a bunch of like electronics announcements for the next year, or for like this coming year. It's wonderful to me because it's like, man, if only it was available like 3 months earlier, or like if this thing would actually come at all. But let's start off with some news in the computing space. Starting with AMD, they showed off some offerings for their Zen 4 series cards. They also showed off for the Zen 3 and 3 Plus series as well. This would include the Ryzen 7040, 7045, 7030, and 7035 respectively. They also announced a few new RDNA 3 cards, including the RX 7600M and the 7600M XT. And all of this reportedly will be coming to new laptops this year.
Another big announcement for AMD though is the 65-watt versions of their CPUs, their desktop CPUs, which is huge. Like you'll save money on not getting the X. You'll be with a little bit of overclocking, you'll be able to get close to or match the X series, the higher wattage ones, and you'll be saving your money on electricity bills and not having to buy a bigger power supply, possibly, maybe. Those are really good. Should be mentioned.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here because I knew I wasn't gonna get every single thing. What's that?
Honestly, more important than the laptops is the 65-watt CPUs for desktops. 100%.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be good for people who do game on laptops, but like you're gonna have to purchase a whole laptop with this. But so like if you're in the market, sure, check out the any of those cards that are gonna be in any of those laptops. But if you want to build a desktop, like AMD would be a great option especially on the budget side for those 65-watt models.
Mm-hmm. Mendacii, any thoughts on this one?
I think that more or less what I was hoping to see a lot of are the things that Green was just talking about, things that are going to be a lot more consumer friendly, and just like accessible. We're like years into this insane shortage crisis on computer parts. I just want to play games, make them look nice, and not run into issues, whether that's financial or system like optimization. man, like that's all I really wanted. I knew that I wasn't necessarily going to see a ton of that at CES. It's not really what it's about, but it was cool to see something like this. I just wish there was more.
Yeah. Rev, how about you?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I do think it's really cool to see, as Green mentioned, something that's more accessible to the to the everyday consumer, and I would like to see more. But I'm also in a position where I'm kind of getting ready to start trying to build out a new PC because mine's kind of got a bunch of older parts in it, and so seeing like some of this stuff that's on its way down the line, knowing that I'm still a little ways out from being able to do that, but having those better options that'll cost less but can still meet what needs I have for them. It's really cool to see, and it's exciting for me.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about NVIDIA?
No.
So NVIDIA announced a new tier of GeForce Now called Ultimate, which will apparently give you access to an RTX 4080. And they also introduced a new program called NVIDIA Reflex, or a new side part of GeForce Now that will reduce your latency, and they're saying that it's going to be on par with desktop gaming. We'll see it, I guess. I would love to know if that's feasible. They also announced that the RTX 40 series will be coming to select top laptops this year. Those were like the big things that I saw with them. Green, want to fill in any gaps?
No.
What about
NVIDIA's
mine?
The devil.
You want to fill in my gap, Screen?
Absolutely. And NVIDIA is just like, all I can picture with NVIDIA right now is just like $ eyes, and they're going crazy. They need to be stopped.
Yeah, $ eyes. The 4080 being relaunched and renamed. Which, by the way, that's a whole fucking thing. I posted it on Twitter. But like how insane it was that basically every tech YouTuber dropped the same review at the exact same time. Linus Tech Tips, Jay's 2 Cents, Hardware Unboxed, Gamers Nexus, UFD Tech. Every single tech reviewer that I follow dropped the exact same review.
It was surely disgusting.
It was pretty rough for them. Mendacii, anything you wanna throw in here?
Nothing surprising, and wow. I, again, just like with the last segment, sure wish there was. Just like what Green said, they've been on this game of dropping the ball for years. This downward trend. I'm like waiting to see what like the bedrock is, because like I thought we would have hit it a while ago, but like they just keep mining away, just going deeper.
There's more,
and yet somehow it's always less. I'm without any answers.
Yeah. Rev, did I already ask you?
You didn't, but I don't have much on that one because I haven't even looked too much into NVIDIA stuff coming out, because I'm kind of like in the same boat of I don't really care for NVIDIA that much, so I don't really listen to their filthy, disgusting lies.
And then the new PC I'm building in the future is going to be all AMD. I'm not even going to get a GeForce card. I'm going to get an AMD card. Fuck it.
My man.
Sony had a really cool announcement. It's called Project Leonardo, and it's an adaptive and customizable controller designed for motor and dexterous accessibility, which I thought was pretty dope, because Microsoft already has I think Microsoft even calls it their adaptive controller, where you can kind of piece together this controller for all sorts of motor ability and dexterity needs. So it's really nice to see Sony getting into that. Did you guys look at it at all? Did you see the images and stuff?
Yeah, it looks interesting. It's so vastly different than the way Xboxes look, because like Xboxes almost looks like a like a bongo controller kind of thing because it had the two big round pad looking things on it. And this
Mhm.
one it's got like the one centerpiece and then all the buttons in the circle around it. It's really interesting looking.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got like a joystick piece, right? For anyone who hasn't seen it and maybe is just listening, but it has like a joystick piece, and then around the main part of it are these different buttons that you can use to control it. I, the Microsoft one does kind of look like a bongo because it is. You're right. It's kind of like that. It looks like a fight pad almost too. The Microsoft, but the Microsoft has had theirs out for a while, so I'm a little surprised that it took PlayStation so long or Sony so long to get something similar out for customers. I would also love to know, like, I would love to get their designer and consultants to like talk about the design process, and then get Microsoft's designers and consultants to talk about the process and see like why did they each team make the respective decisions that they made.
Yeah, I want to see what they look like in full action being used in like in the the ways they're intended and to help those with the accessibility needs to actually game the way they want to game. I want to see how those like actually work in real time. I think that'd be really interesting to look at. To kind of see maybe we could kind of pick how they made their design choices based on how it's used in real time.
Yeah. Mendacii, you have any thoughts?
More accessibility options is always a good thing. More people playing games is always a good thing. And having options to play them. There's also something that's been coming up. Like God of War actually had so many different accessibility options in their game that were used by not just people that relied on them to be able to enjoy the game, but people that didn't necessarily ever play a game with any of those accessibility options available to them before realize that they like playing games with those accessibility options. This controller is great for people that have not been able to enjoy games the way that they wanted to in the past, as well as people that haven't been able to play games in the past. So it's just these are the inventions that move this entire industry forward, regardless of the reason behind it. It's just forward motion. So I really like this kind of progressive nature that I'm seeing as far as accessibility goes in the gaming industry.
Yeah, which also, if you guys are interested in accessibility in gaming, we do have 2 episodes from with Brandon Cole, who is part of the team who got The Last of Us Part 2 fully accessible to the blind.
Super Blind Man on socials.
Yes. So
Those were great episodes. I really enjoyed speaking with him on The Last of Us 2 because that was back when I was still here as a co-host, and his just passion for building that accessibility for the community was second to none. And that actually goes back to like how you mentioned, Danny, that it was actually kind of surprising that Sony had taken this long to do that because they had in the past been so forward in their adventure to grant accessibility to those who need it. But again, like Mendacii said, any forward motion is good forward motion. So we're here now, so it's a good thing.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people have had to like either adapt to the regular controllers. Like there's a few content creators that with the disability that like have been adapting the actual controller itself. Another big thing is like 3D printing. 3D printing has been a huge help in like helping with people with disabilities still be able to enjoy and play video games. So it's nice that Sony and Microsoft are like finally realizing, hey, we really should put some effort to make this a little bit easier for people. It's great.
yeah. And one thing that I really do like is just the um modularity, at least the Microsoft one. The Sony one, maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, doesn't look as modular as the Microsoft one, because the Microsoft one, I think they like came with a couple different pieces. But there is like a certain amount of modularity to it that I appreciate, just for the fact that like, especially when it comes to hands, there's different there's different issues of dexterity and motor skills that are, you know, with hands. You know, sometimes the hands, you know, sometimes you just don't have, you know, fingers or hands due to like an accident or deformity, or sometimes you're just arthritic, right? Like, and you can't use your fingers as well. So like the fact that that's there is really cool. Anything else with the Sony one? I don't think I missed. That was like the big thing with the Sony gaming stuff.
Not for me.
I think that's pretty much the big one.
So do
Yeah,
you guys?
that's a good news right there.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
That's good, heartwarming news. You know, it feels good in here. Feels good in here. Do we want to just go into like the cool shit, the weird shit, the interesting things?
Absolutely.
Who wants to go first? I've been doing a lot of talking.
I can go first.
Okay.
I actually technically have two. Like the Sony and Honda electric vehicle looked pretty cool. Afila, that looked pretty fucking dope. I mean, they're starting pre-orders, I think, this year for a delivery next year, I think, or something like that, or maybe pre-orders in 2025. Yeah, 2025.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for an electric car, I think it looks better than fucking Teslas. So, you know, not gonna lie, it looks pretty fucking good. Honda makes some good shit. So, but like on a better note, I think the J Labs announcement, because they just recently, like the FDA just recently allowed over the counter sales for hearing aids. J Labs is actually introducing a pair of over the counter hearing aids for $100,
Oh
which is
wow.
like massively cheap compared to actual like hearing aids like that you get fitted and filled for. Like I know Sony did something a while ago, but those were like $1,000 too. So like for $100 set of hearing aids to help, you know, accessibility with people who can't hear or are, you know, have hearing loss, that's great.
Yeah.
Kudos to J Labs.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I kind of had an epiphany a couple years ago with a coworker who damaged his hearing. But he damaged his hearing pretty severely. He already had bad hearing, and then got these new hearing aids that he had to wear. And when he was like describing them to me and saying all the things they could do, I'm like, those are just earbuds. Like those are like he's like, oh yeah, they have like Bluetooth connectivity and stuff like that. They can like also have like sound canceling, so they do like actually protect my ear. And I'm like, these just sound like really fancy, you know, in your earbuds. Like that's like how good those like in your earbuds have gotten, you know, comparatively. Chocolate just said, did he listen to you sing? No, he lit a firework off in his hand. it was the concussive part of a mortar. I know I've told the story before on my streams, but yeah, I had a coworker who set off a firework like basically right next to his face, and it was the concussive part of a mortar. And
Stupid.
yeah. But yeah.
Stupid lady.
Rev.
So I actually have two. One, this one's not as much for me. It just kind of piggybacks off of the accessibility conversation we were having. L'Oreal introduced something called the Hapta, which is it's designed for people who have limited hand and finger dexterity and strength and sturdiness to be able to like apply. I think it's focusing more on like lipstick right now, but for people to be able to actually like put on their makeup and things like that without having to worry about that. It uses like a gimbal type of system with it. So it looks really interesting. And I wanted to call that out because of how, you know, I mean, accessibility in any realm is good. But there's also the pee thing, the pee pod, the urine analysis thing that I think is pretty cool. So it like measures your ketones and vitamin C and stuff like that, and it can analyze like your health with that. Personally, I think it's also kind of like this is just kind of interesting that it can also apparently analyze your urine to determine your hormones to let you know that apparently your menstrual cycle is going to begin soon. Like there's a whole bunch of different things. This little pea pod, it's what I'm calling it. I don't even remember what it's actually called. I just call it the pea pod. It can measure these things, and it connects to like all of your wireless devices that you want to hook it up to. So that way, if you want, you can put it on your smart TV. That way everybody in your house can be like, oh yeah, he's got high level of ketones in his pee.
It's
I mean, it'd be weird to do. Yeah,
The
it's like
Withings U scan.
that's what's called. Okay, I'm still
And
calling it pea pod. That sounds dumb.
Withings does like a whole bunch of different smart like fitness and health stuff. Like they have a one of like the highest rated scales on Amazon or on the internet for like smart scales that interact with like Samsung Health and Apple. The biggest thing with that, like that I saw, was that like each like testing thing is its own subscription. So like pH is its own subscription. Hormone levels is another subscription. Ketone levels is another subscription. So like that sounds like it could get really expensive really fast.
Oh, it probably can. That's kind of like I know another thing that they showed off at CES. It was like a little smart pal thing. I had it up here. Yeah, the Ki Luna. It reminds me of this little robot guy that I had that looks like a little forklift, and he was like really cool. I can't remember what he was called either, but he was really cool. He's kind of like an Alexa that moved, and you could interact with and fist bump him and stuff like that. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, now you're going to have a subscription to be able to use anything outside of just asking it like the weather and stuff like that." I'm like, "Well, that's stupid." So now I have this useless, stupid forklift on my nightstand. But yeah, it could definitely get expensive very quick. The one thing that gets me about it is having to like change out the batteries. Feels like it'd be kind of weird. Don't know how that would go about, but I can get into some weird shit, so I'm here for it.
Yeah. I'm actually by the way, I looked up CES like urine analysis, and there's apparently like a bunch of them this year. There's like one from Vivu, Olive, the Withings one, which looks like it would be like the Withings one that we were just talking about. That looks like it would be really good for like people who do have a lot of health conditions, especially like kidney stuff. But Mendacii, what did you see?
Hello. Yeah, so I'm gonna do one really weird thing and one fun thing. So the fun thing was the prinker. I don't know if you guys saw that. Basically like temporary tattoos, but with like a machine, and like you can get them wet, but in order to actually get rid of them, you need like soap and water and to scrub them. But like you can essentially kind of put on tattoos that maybe you're like, I don't know, do I love this? And you can just, check it out for a little while. I thought that was pretty cool. That way, like you don't end up with like any regrettable tattoos, like misspellings, something like that. But also, I could see it being used by like tattoo artists and high-end shops that have access to this kind of tech. They could do that kind of mock-up and be like, all right, like this is my design. This is what it would look like on your body. Do you dig this? Maybe have it on for a day or so and then come back. And if you're still down, let's do it. Like, that's a cool idea. Now, the funny thing is more like a dystopian thing. I don't know if you guys know what Ring is, like Ring doorbells.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anyone see the Ring drone that patrols your house?
Yeah. Like it's already bad enough that like Ring, if you guys don't know this, Ring provides their footage to law enforcement.
Yes.
So you're just basically, your neighbors are narking on you and you're narking on your neighbors if you use Ring.
Yep.
And now you're giving Ring the ability to map out your home that they'll probably give to the government as well.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's just it, is that, it has to make a scan, because didn't it also come out that Roombas, like when they do the scan of your floor plan, like that is actually information that's sold, which then goes into like SWAT team trainings to like kind of better understand like modern house floor layouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like imagine now having essentially a 3D model done up of your house by your patrol drone, and I'm not sure what it's going to do other than like maybe emit loud noises, flash a blinking red light, and just go like danger, danger, intruder. You know,
You can't throw
Look
in
at
the
it.
words danger, danger, Will Robinson. I don't want it.
yeah, I was going to say it, but I was like, is anyone going to understand it? I should have understood already.
I
but
had that one in the
Rev-
pocket ready as soon as you
yeah.
said danger, danger.
Yep, yep. I
It's
was like, Rev will
actually
know.
it's actually like pre-rigged with a claymore, and
Oh,
like
shit.
they're taking a lesson out of the ISIS book of home defense.
Jesus.
and it's like if you don't say the passcode in like 0.35 seconds, it's going to like kamikaze you.
Yeah, they just took
Right.
a page out of the what is it, Timmy Two Shoes or whatever his name is, the Call of Duty guy that throws bouncing betties in the Jeep and then drives around.
Oh God, yeah. I did just retweet a video of it actually in use. So if you wanted to go and check that out, that's on my Twitter at only Mendacii.
Yeah. Anything else in our dystopian future that you want to point out?
I mean, no. The cool temporary tattoos makes it so you can look like your Cyberpunk 2077 character.
Mhm.
The drone makes it so that you can pretend you live in it.
I would like to go ahead and present the idea to get the drone, but not use it for any reason other than to hover over your bed while you masturbate and just waste some FBI agent's time. Be like, you want to see this from all angles, Mr. Smith? Enter my matrix, and then you bend over. Like,
It looks bigger from a downward angle rather than an upward one.
Yeah.
for science,
Science
for science.
and safety.
Yeah, I imagine it's not a very safe thing if you have cats.
Oh, dude, free show. Watch him jump up over. Oh man.
Um,
I have kids. I think that would still be fun. Be like, fly-
Football
try to
bat.
catch it.
so yeah, for me, there was a lot of really cool and interesting displays and display technology that was being shown off, specifically wireless TVs. There is the 97-inch signature OLED M3 TV that I think that was Samsung that was showing that off. And the only cable that has is the power cable, which you can hide like in the base of it. But all of the devices, all the input devices go into like a base station that beams it over to the TV. So, you know, you don't have like, you can just like mount the TV up, hide the power cable or run the power cable behind the wall if you want to, you know, drill a hole in your wall. And then like you don't have to like run an ugly HDMI or RCA cable or anything like that to the back of the TV. I think that's pretty nice. And I think also for like stores and stuff like that, that's also really nice where you don't have to like try to like find like a place to display your TV where you have a power cable or run like an ugly ass power cable or try to like run it through the ceiling. Like that to me, like I see it for like retail spaces is really nice. There's also one, I don't remember the company. Maybe you guys can find it real quick, but their wireless TV had battery packs. I think they could like run like 9 hours on battery packs or something like that. So it was entirely wireless. And it just like beamed stuff to it. So that was really cool. I think wireless TVs are really interesting and fun. Hopefully they like are affordable, like LG, Samsung, and all these other companies who are producing wireless TVs see this as something like worthwhile that can be used, because I do Displace. Thank you. Yeah, they're the ones with the totally wireless TV. The other super interesting or weird display that I saw that made me like pause for a second was the laptop that had an entirely OLED screen, and then on the other side had an e-ink display, so similar to like a Kindle. And the idea was if you wanted to save battery and you're just like writing emails or working on a Word doc, you just swap over to the e-ink side. Let me double check and see who this is from. CES e-ink laptop. That should be, yeah, it was Lenovo. So you'd like one side you have your OLED, and then like you just whoop, twist it around, and then all of a sudden you have your e-ink side. What do you guys think about that?
I think my eyesight's bad enough to where we've hit the singularity in screens where it's like I can't tell the difference anymore because I can't keep up with my glasses like a responsible adult.
Green, it looked like you had something to say.
I just said neat. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I like the wireless TV. I think that's really neat.
Mm.
I mean, especially if you're like one of those people who are like dead set on like essentially like a dedicated server room.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Linus from LTTstore.com. He has like his own dedicated.
Hold on. Why are you hawking LTT Store?
I don't
We're
know. I have to. Anytime you talk about Linus, you have to do the bit. You just programmed it into everyone's brain, dude. But no, like he has like his own, like it's a closet that's like its own dedicated. It's his own dedicated server room, and then he just like runs like lightning cables. So like his computer is in his closet. He just runs the lightning cable. That like shit like that. You could do that with your TV, your computer, all that. That would like save so much space in like your home office and your gaming space, your living room. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how much different the anime serial experiments lane would have been if this technology existed back then. Like her room would have not looked like the way it did at the end of that anime. And honestly, I feel like she probably would have been able to meet her friend again.
You are making a reference I have no idea about.
Dude, it's just an anime about the internet and friends. It's good. It's just a positive, wholesome time. Just go.
I feel like you're laying a trap.
Nah, I would never.
It's a trap.
Friendship.
Anything else for CES?
Nah. I mean, just more weird things. If you're really curious, I would say, like, listeners, there is actually a pretty cool, comprehensive, like, weirdo list of like the things that were shown off over at CES, written over at fatherly.com. Which was pretty interesting because there's so much stuff to kind of comb through. So if you're really curious as to like some of the other stuff, the urinalysis thing is on there as well. But yeah, just Google weird shit CES 23 fatherly, and the article is actually written pretty well. So there's that.
Yeah, excellent. Do we want to go to weekly deals?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some weekly deals that you guys can take advantage of right now. Rev, do you have one?
Yeah, I have. I actually have a couple. I found another while we were doing this. One, Heavy Rain, an old school, like pretty solid game, is half off on Steam right now. I think it normally retails for 20. It's marked down to 10. And for those that have been interested in getting into it, but don't know really where to start, if you want to, Dead by Daylight is like 85% off retail right now. Now, granted, you obviously for all the different killers and different survivors, you have to get the DLC packs. But if you want to get a feel for Dead by Daylight and see what it's like, before you actually go all in on that, you can get it for 65% off. It's normally $20 for the base game. It's marked down to 7.
Nice. Excellent. Green.
I have Human Fall Flat. It's on Steam right now on discount. It's 70% off all the way until January 23rd, so it's 13 days you have. It's $5.99. Cashola.
Cashola.
Yeah, if you want to get like a group of I think it's up to 6, I think, or something like that.
I think so.
Online, yeah, where you can just like eat each other off of bridges or try to do the puzzle together and stuff like that. Might be something to pick up. It's definitely an interesting, fun ragdoll mechanic game.
Yeah, I've heard it's also very frustrating. Mendacii.
Hey, yeah, so I recently just played a game that I would love to talk about sometime, but it's in my top 3 survival horror games of all time, and it's free on Xbox Game Pass. That's Signalis, a game with 4 different endings, and you should play it. Really beautiful blend of kind of like weeaboo-ness and like German sci-fi crazy stuff. Go be an android in a really scary place and try to unravel what's going on. Great game. Can't recommend enough.
Heck yeah. What I've got is kind of weird. I've not played it, and I found it while scrolling through Amazon, and it caught my eye. It is called Diecraft. It is a Minecraft-inspired role-playing dice game that you can get for the Kindle for $5, or you can get it for free through Kindle Unlimited. Yeah. It just seemed weird, and I'm like, who would have tried to make a TTRPG or a pen and paper RPG out of Minecraft? That sounds odd and interesting. So, yeah, you can check that out for $5 or for free if you have Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, anything else?
No,
No? Do we just want to go on ahead and wrap up the show then?
I think so.
Rev, thank you for coming on the show.
It was a pleasure to be back.
It's always a pleasure to have you, baby boy.
I
You
reached out
too.
like 2 days ago, and I was like, "Hey, dude, when do you have an opening?" And you were like, "This Tuesday and every following Tuesday." And I was like, "Count me in. I'll be there."
Yeah, we haven't like gotten a solid schedule for guests yet, which is out of the ordinary for us. Usually we do have something like at least a week or two, planned. So we're flying by the seat of our pants, which is actually a great reminder. Like maybe if you guys have someone who you want to see on the show, let us know in the YouTube comments. Like tag them in YouTube, let them know that like you want them to be here with us so we can share the love and appreciation. But Rev, what's coming up with you?
Well, so I'm actually back into content creation again. I had been on a hiatus, and tomorrow, this Wednesday, I'm going to be playing Faith, which is an indie horror game that somebody said, "Dude, if you pay this or if you play this, I'll buy it for you." I was like, I like Airdorf. Airdorf's worked on some cool stuff in the past, so why not? So I got some horror stuff coming up. I'm also working on getting some more short, like super short, really weird indie games. If you could not tell by how Fish is made, together to make more YouTube content with as well. So you can find me both on Twitch and YouTube at Rev Sven. Twitter and Instagram are both the Rev Sven because of some Scandinavian priest asshole. And then everywhere else it's just Rev Sven. There's no telling what's going to be next.
Excellent. Green, what's coming up with you?
I'm still trying to figure out my schedule, but if I stream, it's going to be definitely Hunt Showdown or maybe Escape from Tarkov if I feel like punching myself in the dick that day. So you can follow me twitch.tv/Mr. Greenleet. And all my socials are Mr. Greenleet. That includes YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans, all the fancy things.
Heck yeah. Mendacii.
Hey man, yeah. So back at school, and the job is going to be like a looser schedule. Got to see what that's going to entail. But for now, I'm streaming at like all sorts of strange hours. But if you follow me over on Twitch /Mendacii Mendacii, you'll know when I go live. Otherwise, you can find me on socials like Twitter and Hive. On Twitter, I'm at onlymendacii Mendacii, and on Hive, that's just at Mendacii. Otherwise, lately I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077. I did one full playthrough of Signalis. I might stream some of my other playthroughs as well. But yeah, otherwise, just, I don't know, hit me up, see what's going on. Let's talk about stuff.
Heck yeah. Coming up for me, I might stream this week still. I do have some stuff that I am working on for like VRCana and some and the such. But yeah, VRCana is the next session is this Friday. This will be session 4. Me and Green Elite did a one-on-one. So if you
Green
are
Elite and I.
Shell and
Green
Pedantic.
Elite and I.
Kill me.
Anyways, so if you are watching VR Arcana on YouTube, we just had the first episode of session 3. Session 3.
There you go.
Go up over the weekend. Then you have 2, and then you're gonna get a bonus episode, and then session 4 will be coming up very shortly after that. So lots of VR Arcana coming your way. If you guys haven't, do check that out. The playlist on YouTube, you can watch all the episodes and get caught up. It's fantastic. Otherwise, yeah, if I stream, it'll probably be some Hunt Showdown. Maybe some Mordhau. I'm really enjoying Mordhau, like when I'm not streaming, and I don't know if I want to taint it with streaming, but maybe I will. I don't know. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter at DaniK, DANIECAE. That's pretty much it for me. Anything else, guys?
No.
That's all for me.
All right. Well,
Nothing.
that's going to be the whole show. So thanks for watching and listening. Your time and attention is always appreciated. But of course, we're not just interested in your time and attention. Let us know what you think about everything we talked about in the comments of this episode on YouTube, or you can tweet at us. Greenlee, hit him with that Twitter.
At Next to Nothing PC.
Hell yeah. And if you've made it this far, be sure to drop a like and subscribe on YouTube. That really does help us out quite a bit. We would love to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So, you know, if we can do that, that would be super dope. And I would kiss all of you right on the forehead individually. Don't forget to let us know your thoughts on anything that we did talk about, like I said. And until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights. And we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Give me bow.